What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Nerdy Volume Podcast. And today we are talking about Uncanny Count. No, I'm just kidding. Today we're actually talking about The Marvels, the new movie that came out for the MCU, starring Brie Larson, Teyona Paris, I think I butchered her first name, Iman Vellani, I think I butchered her last name, and so many more. Before we even get started, you know the drill. Sit back, relax, and turn it to 11.
All right. Yeah, so we are going to be talking about the Marvels from the MCU. The Marvels, just to give it a short recap, the Marvels is where Carol Danvers and Monica Rambeau, as well as Kamala Khan, start getting their powers entangled, and which makes them they're forced themselves to actually have to work together. And throughout this whole movie, they have to figure out how to do so. So let's dive in and, get a little bit more underneath this movie called The Marvels. There's a couple of things that I wanted to actually bring up before doing like a complete review. Like a lot of people do a lot of reviews just solely off of what they know about the comics, what they know about the MCU, and what they know about the actors. You know what I mean? So I think we gotta have to ask the question, what did we want to see going into the movie? Like, what did we want to see from Carol, from Monica, from Kamala? Now, I did get to watch Miss Marvel a while back. Actually, after the final episode came out, I watched literally it all in one night, or maybe 2 nights, because I got to sleep. But, I got to see the character that Kamala was, and she is definitely 100% eccentric teenager. She was that eccentric teenager, and I had a ton of different scenarios in my head on how she was going to react to when she finds out what heroes like Captain Marvel has to go through, I mean, granted, Kamala had no idea who Monica Rambeau is, because Monica Rambeau was kind of under the radar strictly for like the government. We see in the movie that Kamala, definitely that eccentric type. We all know that she is a huge fan of Captain Marvel, has no idea who Monica is. And what I expected to see was actually a Kamala that would get her dreams shattered because she met her hero. For Monica, now, if for those who watch WandaVision, she always seemed, she like had the know-how, but she always seemed, I want to say, lost in whatever was going on. Like, you remember WandaVision at all?
Yeah.
She was always just like very curious, but then when something that didn't make sense logically happened, she was like, what are we going to do? And then obviously she was quick on the uptake. Still though, you don't understand what's going on. You don't know what's going on or what's happening in her head. And that was kind of what Monica Rambeau's character was for me. And we already talked about with Carol Danvers' character, or as far as Brie Larson acting as Carol Danvers. Brie Larson's take for Carol is more of like, she's become, in this movie, The Marvels, she's become more socially awkward, yet she isn't closed off. So what were you, like, I was expecting Kamala to be kind of like, yeah, get her dream shattered. I expected Monica to be kind of like trying to be like, why is this happening? Okay, it is happening. How do I fix it? Like, that was Monica's whole MO to me. And then Carol was just this awkward girl, or woman, excuse me, that wanted to reconnect, but she couldn't because of past mistakes that we don't know about yet.
Right.
And in the first movie, Captain Marvel, you just see that she was actually brainwashed, right? For the most part, by the Kree. You get to see that she was taken advantage of. And it was almost as if she was embarrassed that she was taken advantage of, despite the fact of being so powerful. If you think about it from the movie, she only just got that power, right? And granted, all of these things are from someone like who hasn't watched or read any of the comics. Right. I knew nothing about Captain Marvel. I knew nothing about Monica Rambeau or Miss Marvel. I don't know who they are as characters. Like, if you were to give me like, who is Kakashi, I could tell you for sure, 100%. But I don't know any of these comic characters, and I would love to learn it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm going to go off of the MCU. Now, a lot of people who watch this that don't, or that do read it, don't come at me. Just letting you know, I don't read the comics. If it was more accessible like manga was, then it'd be like,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
sometimes, yeah. And I grew up in the era where collecting comics, you could save it and you could actually give it to collectors to make money.
Yeah.
Like that's what, like, I believe my mom bought me like 40 comic books and I wanted to read them when I was a kid, but she said, no, those are for your future. I was like, okay, sure.
Sure.
So what were you expecting from the three characters?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if I was expecting. Look, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you something. Like Marvel, for the most part, for the past few years now, after pretty much Endgame, I would say, like it's kind of just been disappointing. It's just nothing. None of these movies have been like wow to me. So honestly, my expectations for the movie in general were so low. It was just like I'm going just
Pretty low.
hopefully to be entertained, at least, right? But
Right.
I definitely was, I guess I wanted to just see how all three of them were going to react. I do appreciate though, because what I did expect, I would say, was not a very good Captain Marvel, because I don't think she was. The first movie was not that great to me, right? And whether I don't know if it's Bree's fault or if it's or the writer's fault, but Carol Danvers was one dimensional to me. It was no emotions. It was just like, this is who she is and that's it, period. It was like
Right.
I enjoyed her more in this than I did in Captain Marvel. She had many more dimensions, many more layers to her. Like you said, she was awkward. She's like, oh, I don't know how to act in front of people. And I do agree. I think because going into it, I definitely thought that Camilla's dreams were going to be shattered. You know the saying, never meet your heroes, right? Because they're never what you seem. And I do agree, because I was like, Carol is not a nice person. She's kind of a jerk, right? And you see in Captain Marvel, in the End Games, in Infinity War, you just see that she's not a very sociable person. She's very distant and all this, and you're like, yeah, she's not gonna have a good time. But it was very much the opposite. I think she tried her best to be compassionate, I guess is the word.
Yeah.
So
she was very soldier-like. Yeah.
Yeah, in the first one, but in a bad way, not in a good way. It was just like it was just like I said, one dimensional. There wasn't much to Captain Marvel in the first one. That's why I don't think it was a very great movie. But she did a better job in this one. But then again, when you're at rock bottom, there's not anywhere to go but up. But then for what's her name, Monica Rambeau, which I guess they never came up with a superhero name for her, right? Because they kept trying, but I don't think they ended up ever saying one.
Yeah.
But for Lieutenant Rambeau, I don't know what I expected, because I think she did a pretty good job in WandaVision, and I was pretty interested to see where they were going to go with her character. So in reality, I felt like this movie was more of a Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, with Rambeau as the third wheel,
the anchor.
Yeah. She was just the other person in the movie, and I say that as an unfortunate writing situation. I think the writers, I don't think they did much to beef her character up as much. So that was kind of disappointing from that perspective. But I don't know what I expected from her. I just expected to learn more of her character, of her ability, because like you, I haven't read the comic books. I think the only comic books I've ever really read are The Walking Dead, right? Which isn't Marvel, and some of the newer DC, Batman. I think from the 52s. I think that's the type of. I've read a few of those.
New 52.
The New 52s. But other than that, I haven't read anything else. I'm not until recently. I've never really been a big reader to begin with. So I do, like you, I would love to read some comic books, although I have nowhere to start. So if anybody knows, give us, leave us some comments down below, some links or something, and let us know where to start. And yeah, like you said, it's harder to find. Manga is much easier to read. It's much more accessible. Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah.
While unless you're going to the comic book store to buy physical copies of a comic. Or if you subscribe, I guess you could, like, I think DC has like a subscription that you can read their comic books or whatever. But
I had that for 6 months and I was reading a lot of Batman stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know much about Rambeau. I wish we learned more. I think what we got in this movie, like I said, it was definitely the Marvels plus Rambo, right? I didn't feel like she was part of the Marvels from a writing perspective. I felt like she was just the third wheel for the majority of the movie.
Well, actually, she played a very integral part when it comes to know-how. She made all of them understand how their powers work. She's like, I can produce light. I can turn myself into light. I can go through light or whatever. Whatever she said about her own powers. Kamala, she's like, she can make light into physical matter.
Right.
And I forgot what she said that Carol does. But for me, I feel like Carol's an Infinity Stone that can fly. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying. But what stops that from anybody else saying that to them?
That's true.
That's what I mean.
No one else got her power too.
No. I get that, but I'm just saying, like her character, you could replace her character with anybody, and they could have done that for them. Like because there was
like Rocket.
There was a weirdly, yeah, right. There was a weirdly like a deeper connection, in my opinion, or they were at least trying to achieve it, a deeper connection between Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel. Because of the whole, like, let's say, master and apprentice kind of feel, in comparison to Monica and Carol trying to get back together.
Aunt Carol.
Aunt Carol. That didn't connect as good, or didn't have a strong enough connection as the master apprentice feel between Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel. So that's
there was
what
not
I mean.
enough build up between the two. Yeah, for sure.
And so I just felt like she was just the third wheel for the most part, even though I enjoyed her character. Although I will say that probably my favorite character in the whole movie was definitely Camilla. I think Miss Marvel did the best. I think Iman. I think her name is Iman, right? Iman did a fantastic job. I think she did wonderful in comparison to the other two. The other two were okay, and every time Iman was in the scene, she stole the show, in my opinion. Yeah. So great job to her. I thought I enjoyed every moment that she was in. I think I enjoyed most of the parts that she was in. The only part that I probably was like, was the scarf part. Like when they were fighting on Aladna.
Aladna? Yeah.
That was the only part that was like, meh.
Park Seo-joon's like, use the scarf. Or not Park Seo-joon, excuse me, Prince Yan.
Yeah, Prince Yan. But other than that, her parts were fantastic. I really enjoyed every part that she was in for the most part. And so like I said, I don't know what I expected, but some of the parts were more pleasing than what I thought, and then other parts are like, I wish you did something different there. Mostly with Monica's part.
It's funny. Like as you were explaining more of Monica, like I was like, I don't know about all that, but then the way you put it, I'm like, you know what? You're right. She didn't have a place, really. She should have had her own sitcom or her own show on Disney Plus, at least because like we really barely got any Monica, and Monica's mom was Maria, right? And
yeah, I think so. Something like
and Carol, we had them for a little while. And Monica was played by a young character or a young child at that point. So being able to see her grow up might have helped. Maybe seeing Carol, I don't know, but
or seeing Monica already with her powers after WandaVision.
Yeah.
Something to add to her, because like I said, we just know she got her powers because of WandaVision, right?
Mm-hmm. And she learned.
And then what?
Or someone. At the end of WandaVision, she met someone in the theater and she was taken up. For some reason, I feel that Monica's going to be someone very important going forward, especially with the after credit. And
I was going to say, especially with what happened at the end. But and hopefully she gets an opportunity to shine, because I was looking forward to seeing what Rambo was all about, and we didn't really get to. I feel like we didn't get that opportunity, really.
We didn't get much, but she was a good character.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, going into Carol's character, being so awkward for me was funny. She almost reminded me of a anime protagonist where they're like, "Oh no, I don't mean to do that. I'm just letting you know that I do care." Right? Like I am sorry. Like she likes to, I guess, get it all out there, to be like, just letting you know, I know I make mistakes, kind of thing. And I'm like, that is a new light on Carol Danvers. She should have used that at the second half of Captain Marvel. That would have actually made her character that have that second dimension, that since I definitely agree with you with the one dimensional with her character.
Right.
So if she added that awkward like, I know I'm going through some stuff, but just know that I'm learning, or I'm gonna do better.
Right.
I think that definitely sets a different perspective, of her character. So yeah, for sure. Like what to expect from each of the, or what did we want to see from each character? We did get to see something. We got to see another side of Carol and Kamala. We got to see how she actually reacted with how Captain Marvel did things. Like when she said, "We can only save who we can." Remember
that
on
was
Tarnax? And I was just like, "Yep, I saw this." But the way that Kamala, or the way that Iman made her character react to that, was actually, it made me think or realize that Kamala is very mature. She's mature. She's not that naive girl that's like, "We could save everyone." I was like, really? Can you? Like, can you save everybody? Like, who could do that? Ain't nobody got speed like Quicksilver,
But he's dead.
But he's dead, yeah. Or in that universe,
universe, he's dead.
Yeah.
No, and actually, I was gonna mention that earlier. I think that was one of my favorite scenes. Was that scene where she's like, "We're just gonna leave. There's still people left." And where Captain Marvel is like, "We can only save who we save." That whole scene, I was like, "You did a really good job there, Iman. Fantastic work. You were very convincing to me." And yeah, no, it was, and I agree. Like, there was this level of, and you said she was very mature for the way she handled it. I think also there was a level of like realization. Right, just because you're a superhero doesn't mean that you can save everybody, and she already has an image that Ms. Marvel can save everyone, right? So here's this view of Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel, not Ms. Marvel, that Captain Marvel can't actually save everyone, right? She's just there are limitations to her abilities too, and I think that was that one of those moments where she's like, okay, this is real. This isn't just me pretending that we're best friends in my room. This is real life now, So I thought that was definitely one of the better scenes of the film for sure.
And I think that, it was really cool to see the two Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel interact, because I was like, I hope they don't do the whole, this young hero that looking up to her idol and gets completely shattered. I was just like, that's a kind of like an overused trope. But this one, I mean, she wasn't necessarily distraught, but she did get it. Like, she got it, and then
she kept understanding really what's happening.
Important. Yeah, that was really important for me as far as how that character was going to be. Because if she's going to be like any other young kid that's going to be all like pouty about it, then I'm like, I don't like her character anymore. But this one, it made me 100% respect Miss Marvel as a character.
Yeah.
Now that we know that what we wanted to see versus what we did see in the movie, when it comes to the characters, like, what did we expect from the actual movie? I know we had them low expectations.
Yeah. I didn't really have man. It's so sad, because you remember when we used to say, man, DC really needs to take a page out of Marvel's book because they know how to do it right.
Yes.
I don't think we can really say that anymore.
No.
Marvel hasn't been they haven't been pulling those bangers like they used to, right?
Well, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was a banger. That was
Guardians of the Galaxy it's Guardians of the Galaxy. They did much better. They always do pretty good with Guardians of the Galaxy. I
didn't really like the first one, but the second one.
Oh, really? You didn't like I love the first one. The first one was fantastic.
The first one was all right. Yeah.
Interesting.
I still give it like a high grade. I don't think we should be friends anymore.
No, I'm just kidding. No, but like think of everything after Endgame. We have Black Panther 2 was okay. We have Secret Invasion was okay. We
excuse me?
Was okay. No. It wasn't anything great. And you hated it.
I disliked it. That's so much.
Man, and that's saying something, because I don't think I've heard you say that you disliked a show. So what else?
Actually, you even brought it up at the theater. The differences, between Secret Invasion Fury and the Marvel's Fury.
Oh yeah.
They were completely two different
night
characters.
and day.
Yeah, and in the Marvels, Nick Fury looked absolutely healthy, whereas in Secret Invasion, that dude looked like he's seen better days. Like
Right, right,
he
right,
had,
right.
I was just like, I was like, you look like you need a shower, sir. You know, but in the Marvels, he looked like he's it all in velvet. I forgot what color it was. I'm pretty sure it was velvet or like a very fancy blazer. I was just like, you in space? What you need that for?
He always gotta look good. No, but like personality wise, and it's weird because I feel like Fury from pre Endgame was pretty cohesive. You know, he's a bad mofo. And then Fury of the Marvels was weird. I can't even. It was just weird. He wasn't the same
character energy. He was just there to pull the story, you know.
You know what? Something like that. And then we have Secret Invasion, which he was like very dark. You know, it has no hope kind of feel, which I guess kind of makes sense because I don't know how much time has passed between the Marvels and Secret Invasion, because I'm pretty sure Secret Invasion happens after the Marvels, but I don't know how much time has passed and what he's gone through. But yeah, I would say he was back to being like the Fury of pre-Endgame. But I don't know. He definitely was weird for sure. But talking about the movie, Thor: Love and Thunder was not good. That was such a bad movie.
It's funny because I had no idea what to expect on that movie. I was just like, "What is this movie about?" And going into it, like I was just like, "It doesn't matter anymore," because I feel like this would be like his final movie. And I'm like, "Is the comics like this?" Because I've seen some animated series of Thor, and he's a buffoon. He's an absolute buffoon. And so I'm like, wait, so what are we getting here? And I think that's one of the beautiful things about the MCU and their characters. They can literally pick any version of the character, and then Thor can just be it because it would be canon, right? Wouldn't it be? And I believe a lot of fans of Marvel Comics also, when looking into a movie, I feel like a lot of them from comic book to the movie theaters, they expect to see not only what they've seen on the comic, but also what they've interpreted throughout the years. So if you're a Thor fan and you're in your 30s and you're watching the first Avengers, like those are the people I want to talk to. Like, is that the Thor you remember? You know? And I was like, I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Is that the Thor you remember? Is that the Thor that you created in your head based off of what you've already read? Or is it a new Thor? You know, like what is the answer to those 3 questions? And then you can see why those characters act the way they are. And that's why I had a hard time not liking Love and Thunder.
You had a hard time not liking it or liking it?
Not liking it is bad. I mean, it was all right. It was a good movie, but it was just like cinema, you know, it was like, not cinema, excuse me. That's like a very tall order. I would say it was a good movie to watch like with friends or family. It's a family movie. That's what I thought it was.
Interesting. My gripe with, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned this when we were reviewing Love and Thunder, but my gripe with Love and Thunder was that they were trying to capture the magic of Ragnarok and failed miserably, right? Because Ragnarok was great. In my opinion, one of my favorite MCU movies. I enjoy it. Was so funny. It was well done and everything. And it was just the punchlines were where they were like in the right spot. But then like and then Love and Thunder was like they were trying to capture that same thing, and they're like, you know what? Let's just write 1 million jokes, put it in this movie, you know, because some are gonna hit, right? And I felt like that's what they did with Love and Thunder. They just wrote a bunch of jokes, and like people are gonna laugh one way or the other, you know. But it's like, but it doesn't mean that they're good. I'd rather have 5 jokes throughout the entire movie, but hit in the right spot, than have just a bunch of cheesy jokes all the way through and just me laugh, sure, because it's funny, but does it make it good? No.
Right.
And I think that's part of the problem with a lot of these most of these Marvel movies now is that they're trying to make it funny in a way, and I'm like, but is it good? Just because it's funny doesn't mean it's good. Doesn't mean that it connects with the movie properly. So what did I expect from this movie? I expected more than Love and Thunder, and honestly, I would say it did give me more than Love and Thunder. I thought it was better than Love and Thunder for sure.
I think I could get behind that. Yeah, I can get behind that.
Because I really didn't like Love and Thunder. I was like, I get it. It's supposed to be funny. Ha, ha, ha. That's how I felt with Love and Thunder.
Yeah,
right?
Love and Thunder was like a project for them and their children to do together. Because
Right.
everybody's like, apparently that was the cast's kids. Even Taika Waititi's kids were there.
Right.
And I was
Yeah,
like,
everybody's kids were on it.
I feel like this was like a after school program for everybody.
Right.
You know?
Man, actually, that's a pretty good way of putting that. That's so funny. But yeah, so I wasn't disappointed. So that's a good thing. I didn't leave the movie theater going, well, that was a waste of however much a movie theater costs now. I don't know, $12, whatever the heck it is.
It was $13.99.
Yeah. If I'm paying $13.99, man, I hope it's good. You know, I don't, because
we
else
watched
I
it
could,
opening night.
yeah. So it didn't really disappoint me, but then again, it didn't wow me either. It was just meh. You know? Meh.
Yeah. So what I was expecting from the movie was to be honest, like just a little bit better than Captain Marvel. And not only did they deliver.
I think it was much better than Captain Marvel. Yeah, for sure.
They delivered on that. And, you know, like actually I posted on Facebook, you know, like I just watched the Marvels and my friend's like, did you get a refund? I was like, I can't get a refund. And I was just like,
yo, a lot of people hate it.
I was just like, what are we looking for? You know, people, what are we looking for?
They're looking for the glory days, bro.
And they would only give me baseline or I would say some things that doesn't hold any water to their reason as to why they don't like it. Be like, oh, the reason why I don't like it is because this character is supposed to be like this, but they did this instead, and that actually is supposed to help the story along this way. Now, if someone said that, okay, all right, it's definitely a bad movie in your opinion, but I take it from here and then I explain my way, right? So when I was just like, I'm going to express my thoughts. So when you guys watch this episode, if you guys are watching it, yeah, this is how I feel about the movie. I felt that they delivered better than the Captain Marvel movie, the original one. I would agree that it's actually better than Love and Thunder. However, Love and Thunder did open up different parts of the universe, which was really cool. And aside from the ridiculousness of Love and Thunder, there was still that storyline. Now over in Captain Marvel, the storyline solely was around Captain Marvel. So like you bring in the planet of the Kree, Hala, and you see that it's a dying planet because the Eliminator killed the AI of Hala, destroyed it, thinking that she was
liberating.
She was liberating the entire planet. Little did she know they can't breathe. They're about to die. And I'm like, geez, and it's crazy. Before watching, or I guess while watching the movie, I thought that Dar-Benn was this crazed woman, but she actually had a cut scene of the past. And then you see Captain Marvel in her action, like she's all suited up, goated. You know what I mean? Like she was super powerful and then just like hits the roof and then traps her underneath the rubble. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's trying to save her people, and Captain Marvel to everybody else who is from Hala are gonna be like, oh my gosh, she's an evil person, aka the Eliminator. And I really did like how Captain Marvel didn't really hate that character. She didn't really feel like that character needed to die or anything like that. And that was another part of Captain Marvel's character that I really did appreciate in the movie, is when she was just like, oh, my bad. and then that's where Monica's like, why did you come back? Well, because I kind of made some mistakes on the way, essentially, right? That's what she's saying. I made some mistakes. And I was like, okay, that's the drama of Captain Marvel. So this movie, literally, the Marvels, is all around Captain Marvel. Right. You know what I mean? Like, and we only get pieces of this MCU from her, but we mostly get it from Monica. We get, and we'll get to that in a bit too, as to why. But, what I expected was definitely met, and with a little bit more. I would say that's also what the movie brought to us. It's just like it was just more of like a Captain Marvel movie. Or like, it's kind of like, I guess it makes sense because Iron Man also had his standalones and they were all just around him, with just minor details of the universe, like those cats, the Flurkin.
Right.
Yeah, the Flurkin octopus cats, the cat crin, if you will, play words for Kraken, and throughout, or while everything is going on in Aladna and Hala and Tarnax. You see these little brain-like substances on the space station above Earth. And we find out they're freaking flirkin eggs. They're flirkin eggs.
They're flirkin eggs.
I hope I'm saying those cat things right, but flirkin, I believe that's the name of that the race. And while everyone is trying to get off of this spaceship thinking that it's going to explode, it does explode, right? Or why did it have to leave?
Yeah. No, because the last thing that they needed was the sun, and the sun was being pulled away, and it was.
Oh, I see. They were about to get, and they needed to get out of space.
Yeah.
And so finding out that they're all flirkin eggs was the savior of 300 wait, how much? It was like
I don't know. It was
it
was a bunch of people.
Or no,
pretty much the whole space.
3,500 people maybe.
Yeah, it's the whole space station.
Yeah. And then you have the constant what is that? The person
the announcer
in the intercom.
Yeah, the announcer.
Let the flirkin eat you. And they still running. I'm all like, all right, let me just hold up, like let me cover my head or something.
Right. Stop running and let the flirkins eat you. You will be fine.
Oh man.
And you have Camilla going, I'm sorry. And she's aiming the flirkins at the people. And was it like that was it was funny. I'm not saying this movie wasn't funny. I'm not saying, it didn't have its good moments. It had its moments, and then it had its other moments where I was just like, meh, whatever. This doesn't do anything for me. The flirkin scene was funny to me. I thought it was one of like it was the right kind of comedy for that moment. And and Camilla or Iman she plays her character so well. You just love her character, throughout the whole thing. Every time she's in a scene, I'm just like, I'm going to enjoy it. It's going to be good. So her holding a flirkin around as it's eating people and she's apologizing. I think it's hilarious, So it's just like, it's got its moments.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because like when I saw the flirkin come out of the egg, I instantly thought of when the flirkin threw up the bad guys in Kamala's house.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, they don't die up in the body unless they digest. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I guess they stay in there for too long or something.
And I was really excited to see that they actually implemented that. And I was just like, yo, that's tight. Yeah. Okay. So they are a flirkin, and the main cat's name is Goose. But I gotta ask, how did Goose become pregnant?
Maybe they self-fertilize asexual? Like a plant. Yeah,
like a plant. Yeah. Interesting. Well, that's cool to know. I mean,
unless it got pregnant beforehand and its gestation period is very long, like many, many years long.
Yeah, it's just they built those eggs in there. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, no, like
tell us the biology of the flirkin.
Yeah, like what is it?
How does it work?
I was like, the irony is that like I believe cats like seafood and they have a whole octopus up in there. Yeah. I was like, is that a sea creature or is that a land creature or is it both?
That's so funny.
It's like a turtle. So yeah, So was there any, I guess, let's talk about the things that were bad.
The things that were bad.
Yeah, the things that were bad about the movie. Or we could talk about Park Seo-joon, the homie, Prince Yan of Aladdin.
Prince Yan, okay.
I did not expect Aladdin to be a musical planet. And I don't know, like there's a couple of people, or not a couple of people, but a couple of possibilities come in mind for fans who aren't comic book fans, but are fans of the MCU. And I don't know why, but I see that they wouldn't like that part. Like, what is this? What is it? Why is there a singing planet? But I'm like, it's a comic book, bruh. I was like, there is no limits to what's there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I thought at first, I was just like, oh, a musical planet? Like I appreciate this. I don't know about anybody else in the theater. I was like, I love musicals. So I saw this, I was like, yeah, dope. It's dope. And then, oh man, and when they started singing because of war, I was like, man, this is like, they should have done like African music. Like from the Lion King, like when Simba runs back, like super epic, like. And I was like, oh, and so they started singing like to prepare for war. to prepare for the Kree of invasion. And I was just like, yo, this is insane. This is insane. And also a little weird though, because like ain't no one on the only other musical number I can think of in the MCU. I could be wrong about this though. I thought it was in the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. But
well,
that doesn't count because it's a Christmas special. You know what I mean? It's probably, if I feel like they had extra film and they're like, hey, let's just do this real quick.
Although I actually enjoyed the Christmas special. It was pretty good. And Kevin Bacon's song was kind of fire. I was like, okay, I can listen to that during Christmas. Let's go, Bacon.
Oh man, it's so funny how that joke like lasted as long as it did.
Yeah.
Like, Kevin Bacon still the best actor in the world?
Yeah. That was pretty good. So you're gonna hate me. Aladna for me was okay.
That makes sense.
You know, for me, the singing was fine. I thought it was interesting for sure that it was you know, that the way that they communicated with singing, I thought that was great. Because I thought the idea was pretty good. But I don't know, maybe I've just become more cynical as time has passed, right? And it was a reference, like it was a reference to what I was saying about Love and Thunder, putting jokes in just to see what sticks to the wall, and I felt like that was one of them. Like oh, let's put a singing planet because it'll be funny, right? So
you're one of those people I was thinking about.
Yeah, probably, yeah, most likely. I was just like, wow, it was right. And on top of it, all right, I got nothing against Park Sejun.
He was bilingual
for sure. But I was like, you just put him in there. You just put him in there because K culture, right, is big, and that's how I felt. It's like you just put him in there because he's a K-pop star, and so that's why you did, or whatever.
He's an actor.
Sorry, a K-drama star,
and he isn't the first K-drama star.
No, he's not.
But I felt like
that is true. You're very that's true. But I think he did a better job.
Yeah. Gilgamesh got to work with freaking Angelina Jolie.
Yeah,
I was like,
but yeah. So I don't know. To me, it was okay. That's cool. Whatever. It didn't really do it. Although I will say that my favorite part of that was the bilingual part where she starts talking. It's like, wait. You can just talk like he's bilingual. I thought that was a funny line. That was a good moment.
That was.
You know, I was like, oh, that's pretty good. That was pretty good. I enjoyed that. That was funny. And then her getting into like the singing, and they're like, oh, she's getting into it. Like I thought that was pretty funny too. But other than those parts, to me, everything else, like it was all right. The fighting scene was pretty good. But my favorite fighting scene was the first fighting scene when they first started transporting or like, you know, teleporting to each other's spots, but they didn't know what the heck was happening. That was probably the best fighting scene in the movie for me. I was like, oh, this is really good. It was like nice and long, and it just, I don't know, it was better than the other ones. And then the last one was probably the best. It was the second best to me, like the one where they fought what's her name, Darben. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I mean, I could have taken her, you know, take it or leave it kind of situation with Aladdin, Prince Alia.
Well, so going into the Monica Rambeau, she was the MVP of the battle at the end to save the broken reality. I was just like, Darben's gonna get Miss Marvel's bangle, but I was happy to know that Kamala's powers wasn't from the bangle itself. The powers was given to Kamala whether the bangle was there or not. Except the bangle helps her control it and to produce it better for her to use. I was like when Darben got the second one, I was like, of course he was gonna get the second one. I mean, I was like, I was like,
kind of have to.
I was like, there has to be something that makes them have to work even harder. And oh man, I did not expect Darben to disintegrate though. I was like, oh, I like that character. Even though that she was the main antagonist, I thought she was going to be driven by power to, you know, but she was driven by revenge and to help her people. And I think that was really cool that I didn't see she killed anybody who betrayed her ideals. Kind of like how Thanos did. That's why he was called the Mad Titan. You know, he was like, let's get rid of half of our people randomly. and we should be fine for food. You know,
Interesting.
that's what I so like Dar-Benn wasn't necessarily Thanos level. However, she was definitely there for a reason. She was there to make her people. She didn't have a thing against mutiny from her own people, which I thought was in that's not the term I'm looking for, but I thought it was very good for her character to not be that way. She's like, no, my people is gonna breathe. My people is gonna be able to see the next sunlight. My people is gonna be able to swim or drink water. You know, it's not gonna be poisoned by the atmosphere. I was just like, her cause was awesome. And if it wasn't for Monica telling Captain Marvel, it's like, you have all the energy to restart their sun. They don't need ours. But they didn't tell that to Dar-Benn, and Dar-Benn ended up killing or disintegrating at the end. And
no, they did tell her.
They did?
Yeah.
That's when she got the second bangle, right?
Yeah. Because they're like, I'll start restart, because they said she could restart it for you. And she's like, all right, let's do that. But then she lied and that's where
then that's where that I am Thanos thing went over to that side. Yeah, because I was just like, she didn't need to do that. She was going to get a son.
She still was just filled with rage and revenge. Yeah. She took
Captain Marvel.
Page out of Mr. Ma's book.
And she had a spirit up in there.
Yeah.
Her
character, I don't know. I do agree. I think her character from that perspective was an interesting character. I don't think they developed her well enough, in my opinion. They just kind of they moved along with that whole idea of, oh, we got to go to this planet and this planet and this planet, and so we didn't really have enough time to really sympathize with her. If you wanted to sympathize, you could, right? It's like, oh yeah, no, I feel bad for them, but at the same time, it was like she felt like a rushed character as well. Like her and Rambo were kind of just like rushed through, and it was all about Captain Marvel.
Well, she was 100% a new character versus Monica was actually
right. True. But I will disagree with you. I mean, even though her intentions might have been good in the sense that she wanted to save her people, save her planet.
Yeah.
The fact that she was destroying other planets and killing other people in order to do so was terrible.
Yeah.
Was horrible. And it was interesting because as the movie progresses, you realize what she's trying to do. She's taking atmosphere from Tarnak, and she's taking the water from Aladna, right?
Yeah.
Man, what a hard word to say. And she was going to take the sun from the earth, right? But before that, you don't know all that. And I'm sitting there like, oh, our sun is red. And I'm like, and I was like, well, then your planet is done. If you know anything about astronomy or of, astronomy, I would assume, or space science of any kind. A brand new star is white and it turns yellow and then it turns orange, and then red is pretty much the last thing it is before it dies out. So I'm just like, oh, if your sun is red, you're pretty much over. So who cares if you're taking the atmosphere or the water?
Right.
You're not gonna. I mean, granted, you might have a couple more million years before your planet is truly gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't do anything about it. But then later you find out, it's like, oh, they're gonna take the energy from our sun to re-energize their sun. And I'm like, oh, okay, now I understand what you're trying to do. That makes sense. The writer at least thought that way, that much through it to go, oh, we got to also take the sun, or else this is all pointless. So, but yeah, she, the whole scene with her fighting them, and then she disintegrates. I was like, yeah, you're not a Thanos for sure. You can't handle that much power. Oh, and also you made that the point about Camilla still having her powers after the bracelet
Kamala?
comes off. Yeah, Kamala. Did I say Camilla?
You said Camilla, yeah.
Yeah, Kamala's when her bracelet came off, whatever. I was like, wait, and she was able to like pull them back or whatever, or I was like, you still have your powers even without the bracelet. I'm very confused right now because I thought the bracelet is what gave her powers. I also thought before like we see Dar-Benn fight them the first time. I also thought that the bracelet was permanently on her wrist, right, and that she couldn't remove it at any time. Because I remember thinking, I'm like, how does she take a shower with that? Because how do you clean underneath that because it's got to get
yeah.
stinky down there. But I guess she could remove it.
Yeah, and if you look at Darben's hand throughout the movie, it actually looked like it was getting poisoned. Like it was like she had all her veins was like dark.
Oh yeah, I saw that. It was all
yeah.
Because she was overusing the ability that bracelet had. Oh well, yeah. So
and the bracelet, the one that
it's not a bracelet.
Has,
what is it called?
A bangle. The bangle that Kamala had is the reason she had her powers, though. It gave her the powers. But what happens is that she, because it was her grandmother's, right? So it was almost as if it opened the powers within her, kind of.
Well, and I don't think she was exceeding its ability because
we didn't even
remember
know.
she was using the bangle with the hammer in order to open the portals or whatever the wormholes.
Yeah, and right? She only had one bangle.
Yeah. Right, she only had one. So I think that was over exceeding the ability, which was probably damaging her in the process. But yeah, so by the end of that movie, she disintegrates. They get the bracelet back, and what's her name?
Monica
Rambo. Yeah, Monica Rambo is like, put that power. Throw your energy at me, and then I can close it.
And she turned awesome. She was like Ultra Instinct Monica, Captain
like Super
Instinct.
Saiyan Monica.
Yeah,
Captain Instinct.
She had the whole white pupils. And everything like that. I was like, oh, that's dope. I thought she was like, this power is now mine, and then dicks out.
Die! This is what you get for leaving me.
Peace, Auntie. Nah.
Yeah.
But she saves him, and then we can talk. And now we can talk about the after credit.
End credit. Yeah, the end credit scene.
And you see Maria Rambo. Well, I guess it's not Maria Rambo anymore in this realm. She is in a different reality because that's what it was. That's what that pocket was that Darben had opened before disintegrating. It was a pocket to a different reality. Like it was like looking into another universe, which is
different cool. Universe, maybe? What? But that hasn't existed in the Marvel universe yet. There are no multiverses. What are we talking about?
Dude, nah. And so, we've already seen 3 different ways of looking at reality. There is the one in this movie. There is the one in Spider-Man 3. That's the one where all those things are coming out from I guess I don't know what reality or I don't know what universe it was coming from, but it was from a bunch of universes that saw and that know who Peter Parker is, and they're all trying to come into their single reality, and then he closed it up. So they've opened it up 3 times. Oh, and then there's also the Star Girl, the one from Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
That's where the other universes are come from. So you see Monica waking up next to someone that looks like her mother. She is going nuts. She's like, oh my gosh, mom, and then who walks in on the side next to her bedside? None other.
Blanca. That's a Street Fighter reference, everybody.
The man Hank himself, the Beast.
The Beast.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
I was like,
Hank McCoy.
The heck?
Yeah, I was like, whoa, this dude's huge. And then I'm like, okay, all right. So they're adults because, we've been getting all this first class stuff. So to see like a realized Beast since the third X-Men movie was really cool to see because we've already seen. Do we see any other X-Men? Oh yeah, Charles. We saw him in Doctor Strange 2.
Doctor Strange, yep.
Yeah, so now
which he died in.
Yes, he did.
But he's alive in this one. Yeah, because he said the professor wants to speak with you or whatever.
We're gonna definitely see some parallels. We don't know what world this is, but it's really exciting to see everybody come in through.
To see the X-Men. I'm excited about the X-Men.
Finally,
I'm excited. You know what I mean? We'll see how this goes. I'm interested. Yeah, I don't know. Are we gonna have X-Men movies again? Because I really enjoyed the X-Men. They were really good.
If they do, it'll be really nice to see. And so I mean, I thought that was a really cool way for Monica's character to still be kind of relevant throughout the season. So for this movie, I'm gonna have to give this a C+. Or no, yeah, a C+. Yeah, C+. I want to say 70 to 75%. That's the grade I'd give the movie. Kamala did incredible, and she's the reason why it'd be a C+ because she kept it real, she kept it mature, and I can't help the fact that was probably one of the silver linings of the movie. What about you?
I think you read my notes because I give it a C for sure.
Yeah.
And only because of Iman. I think she did fantastic. I really enjoyed her character, and she's the only reason why this is not a flunked grade. Right.
You know what's funny?
which is go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Finish yours.
I was gonna say I can't remember what I gave Love and Thunder.
I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah, I can't remember what I gave Love and Thunder.
I'm pretty sure I gave it an A, or a B maybe.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, as time passes, I think about these movies and I'm like, you know what? It really wasn't that great. And it like I don't know. I have more time to digest it, and it gets worse and worse. So maybe this movie will get worse by the time the next one comes out, and I'm just like, oh, I hated it. But honestly, I do think this was better than that. So whatever grade I gave Love and Thunder, if it's higher than a C, it doesn't deserve it. But yeah, I think Kamala was the saving grace of this movie. It is the only reason this movie did as good as it did, personally. But yeah, and and that and the ending credit, I thought that was, I'm like, oh, X-Men. That kind of got my attention. I really hope we don't F up the X-Men again.
I didn't hate the X-Men.
But in the sense that they ruined it. That's why they stopped with the third one, and they had to start with with the First Class or whatever it was, but because of the timeline situation.
Yeah.
No, I enjoyed the movies. They accidentally led it into a dead end. And like, oh shoot, we can't really get out of this. That's why they had to like kind of restart it again with the First Class, because they accidentally just killed their own movies. But it's not that the story was bad.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And that's going to wrap this episode. Don't forget to follow us on IG, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Anchor FM. You can listen to us every Monday.
So let's hope great things come out of X-Men,
Radio Public, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher. Subscribe to the YouTube channel to check out our videos, and please leave a comment. Don't forget, turn it to 11.